HarperCollins presents How to Keep a Secret by Sarah Morgan, read by Laurel Lefkow. For there is no friend like a sister, in calm or stormy weather, to cheer one on the tedious way, to fetch one if one goes astray, to lift one if one totters down, to strengthen whilst one stands. Christina Georgina Rossetti. Prologue. Sisters. What are we going to do? We shouldn't even be here. I tugged at my sister's skirt to pull her away from the window. If we're caught, we're going to be in big trouble. I wasn't about to wait around for that to happen. My sister was taking those big gulping breaths that always preceded a fit of crying. Giving her a final tug, I dropped to my hands and knees and scurried back along the path the way we'd come, grateful for the protective shadow of darkness. I wanted to stand up and run, but if we did that, we'd be seen. So I stayed low, crawling like a fugitive. It had been a long, hot summer, and the earth was dry and crumbly. It was only when I felt a cooling splash on the backs of my hands that I realized I was crying too. Small stones bit into my palms and knees, and I clamped my teeth together to stop myself making a sound. I brushed past the jungle of honeysuckle, and the sweet, cloying smell almost choked me. There was nothing sweet about what we'd seen, and I knew that when I was grown up and had a house of my own, I'd never have honeysuckle in the garden. There was a rustling sound behind me. I hoped it was my sister, and not some nocturnal creature with sharp teeth and an appetite. I couldn't see the gate, but I knew it was there. Beyond the gate was the footpath. If we made it that far, we'd be protected by the high hedge. Through the panicked pumping of blood in my ears, I could hear the rhythmic crash of the sea. It sounded closer than usual, louder, as if the tide was colluding, helping to drown the sounds of our escape. The salt breeze dried my cheeks and cooled my skin. Finally, I reached the gate and slid through the gap, ignoring the twigs that stabbed my back. There, right in front of me, was the path. Leaning against the hedge were our bikes, right where we'd left them. I wanted to grab mine and pedal hard into the night without looking back, but there was no way I was leaving my sister. I'd never leave my sister. There was another rustle, and she emerged through the gate, her hair wild from our frantic retreat. Now that safety was within reach, anger burst through the anxiety. It was your idea to come here tonight. I almost choked on the emotion that had built up inside. Why do you always have to do what you're not supposed to do? Because the things I'm not supposed to do always seem like more fun. The wobble in her voice reminded us both that this hadn't been fun at all. I felt her hand creep into mine, and instantly I forgave her. We stood like that for a moment, clinging for comfort. My sister moved closer. If I could have chosen my sister, I would have chosen you. I would have chosen her too, although right then I wished there was a way of curbing her adventurous spirit. I wish we hadn't looked. Me too. For once, my sister sounded subdued. We can't ever tell anyone. Remember what happened to Meredith? Of course I remembered. Meredith was a cautionary tale. I hate keeping secrets. It's a small secret, that's all. You can keep a small secret. I swallowed, my throat so dry it hurt. We both knew that this was a lot bigger than the other secrets we kept. This wasn't sneaking out after dark to play on the beach, stealing flowers from Mrs. Hill's garden, or raiding Mrs. Maxwell's strawberry patch. This was something different. What we'd seen felt like a weight, crushing me. Deep down, I knew we should tell, but if we told, everything would change. We'd left our childhood back at that window, and there was no going back to get it. I won't tell. I'll protect you. We're sisters. Sisters always stick together. I made a promise. Of course, most people who made a promise like that, I thought, didn't have a sister like mine. Part 1. Chapter 1. Lauren. Premonition. A feeling that something is going to happen, often something unpleasant.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?